Hey, what's going on, guys? This is episode 17 of One Level Thoughts. There was a brief long break taken. I think the best thing for this is for us to move it to a occasional thing more than a daily thing, because boy, do I have a lot of things I don't want to talk about, and not many that I do. But anyway, I didn't set this up properly, so allow me a moment while I swap this game. I'm going to have some words of that might be not a popular opinion. That being about restaurants and what closing times mean. I'm gonna start up 7, Novice Locksmith, and discuss that a little bit. Key is open, key is push. Oh, Bob is you. Obviously, door is stop, wall is stop, door is shut. So I've been reading a lot, and unsurprisingly, people get upset about the idea that if a restaurant or a place to open closes at arbitrarily 10, that you shouldn't go in there at 9:45 and order something. Door's not open, though. Uh-oh. That was my plan. Door is open. It's gotta be doors pushed then. And let me explain my reasoning behind that, right? And the thing is that people get upset. You know, people who work in the stores get upset at people who walk in that late, right? And you know, it's generally guarded. Oh, the person the dick, he came in, whatever. I only had 10 minutes left, and I wanted to go home. Great, that's understandable, but I feel like their anger is a little bit misplaced, right? Why do you have the time of closing in this arbitrarily set at 10 for this case be the time you stop serving food and the time you're supposed to leave or you know, be done, you know, close the doors? Whoever's setting that time needs to put a time when the kitchen stops accepting orders and a time when the building closes. Really, it should be whoever's managing that they should be getting angry at for not allowing them adequate time to close shop and do all that stuff built in to their hours, instead of assuming that they're going to start closing up early and just be done at 10 even though the restaurant's open till 10. Why if your time is listed at 10, am I being the one who's a dick by going in at 9:45, 9:30, whatever it is, when I'm clearly within the time? Especially if it's a place that can, you know, makes orders in 5 minutes. It's not like, you know, it's different with maybe a restaurant where, you know, it takes half an hour to make your food and you got to sit and eat or whatever. But if you're running in to pick up an order and leave, like, why is the soft cutoff time that you've imagined in your head at 9:30, 9:15 or whatever, when the sign on the door says 10? You know? And then if you're getting angry at somebody, why are you getting angry at me? And hypothetically, I try not to do this, even though I don't see any problem with it. Because other people do see a problem with it. Why are you getting angry at me when I'm following the rules that you've put up on the wall? Why are you not angry with whoever's putting those rules up for not being accurate? If you want to stop serving food at 9:30 and close the place at 10, make your fucking kitchen close at 9:30. Make that part of it. Stop serving food at 9:30. Stop serving food half hour before close. That way you can have different closing times. Whatever it is, there's no indication of when your last order can go in except for that 10 o'clock time in this arbitrary case. So why are you upset that people are putting in orders before that time? I get the idea that people want to go home. And I get the idea that people don't have enough time to close the place down. But again, those two things sound like something a manager should be taking care of, making your shift hours incorporate whatever closing time it needs to close when you close instead of closing early. It just seems dumb to list one time and then expect everyone else to adhere to a different time that's not listed. That's kind of arbitrary. The exceptions I see in this, like I said, are restaurants who cook to order meals that are not not really a pickup meal. It's there's a difference between maybe a pizza place that has pizzas already made or can make a pizza in 15 minutes, whatever it is, depending, or someplace that's a sit down, like Arby's or Applebee's or something like that, where they have to, like, they're not microwaving your food, but you know what I mean. That to me makes sense, where you would want to have, well, again, you'd want to have a listing time to say what time the last order can go in. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. Or B, delivery orders. If you're expecting somebody to come deliver stuff to you, that's going to cause them to stay past the closing time, or better yet, not be able to get back to the shop or the restaurant or whatever before that closing time passes, then that's a different story. If you're ordering delivery at 9:50, that's kind of fucked up because the dude's not going to make it back to the shop by 10. But if I'm doing the legwork to get there, and you physically have enough time between when I order and when you're done making the order, where the establishment is not closed, I kind of find it hard to balance, though. Make that argument in my mind. And again, I'm not saying that the people who are angry are wrong about being angry. I think they're wrong about where they're directing their anger. Again, I feel like it should be the establishment's requirement or job or whatever, and by that I mean the manager or whoever is shift manager or whatever our owner, whatever role you want to escalate that to list when the kitchen stops making or accepting orders if it differs from the time of close. And this feels like it's a problem more in places like Chipotle or like I said, like a pizza or Domino's or something along those lines, where it's not quite made to order, but it is made to order. You know what I mean? It's not like you're making a meal. It is a meal. You're not sitting down and boiling spaghetti and pulling sauce out of somewhere and making meatballs and frying some chicken or whatever. You're kind of more assembling the pre-made foods. Another caveat to that would be running out of food. Obviously you got to predict for how many people you're gonna have, but I wouldn't want anybody to go out of their way to make a whole nother batch of chicken or whatever just for one person. If you're out of something, you're out of something. But at the same time, if you're running out of something at 8 and you close at 10, you have enough time to make and serve another batch or two, most likely. They have to look at their metrics and all that and see. But if you're running out at 9:30, 9:45 for 10 o'clock, that's a different story. Unless it's busy enough where they're getting business between 9:45 and 10, where they'd go through another batch of food. That makes sense not to make those items like that. But I don't know. It's just I see this argument over and over, and it's like, people being a dick for coming in and ordering food. It's like, well, yes, but the sign says now is a perfectly fine time to order food, more or less. It's a little late, but again, if you can get in, order the food, have it made, take it and leave it before the the posted closing time, I fail to see where the customer's error is. If it's going to be something special, a huge order that won't be completed in time, a regular order that won't be completed in time, or something where there's delivery or something that goes out of the ordinary like that would push somebody past the posted closing time and still prepping for that one person, that's a different story, I think. But anyway, thanks for listening to my rambles. I'm sure there's lots of people disagree, and I'm sure a lot of food service people probably disagree with me, but again, I feel like the anger and upsetness about that shouldn't be really directed at the customer, but more directed at the manager or whoever is posting those times. But anyway, like I said, One Level Thoughts is going to be a little bit more sporadic when I have something interesting to say. I got a couple of things lined up that I want to talk about, but they will not be daily, obviously. So hopefully you have a good night, and thanks for watching.